I got my young hooper snapper showing me.
If you go to the bottom left, are you on a MacBook?
You can hear me now?
Yeah, what'd you do?
Oh, I didn't do anything. What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to find a sound to put on the podcast.
Well, I mean, you're the producer. I'm just the talent. So
I'm a shitty producer. You know what? That's going to be the intro. I'm a shitty producer.
There you go.
I'm a shitty producer. Welcome to Puerto Rican and Pelon. All right. Well, the only problem is I can't see you in your car because it's dark.
Oh, well.
Well, it's a podcast, so who cares? No one needs to see you.
You want me to turn on my... Yeah, that's true. I get
the world wants to see your pretty face, Larry.
Well, I mean, that's the story of my life. Story of my life. My kid's cracking up that wait a minute, you're going to have an old guy podcast? I'm like, shut the hell up. I'm like, Alberto's not old, all right?
I'm going to leave you in a couple of years to move to California. Just wanted to let you know now so you get prepared for it.
I appreciate that. And why would you go to that godforsaken place?
I want you to get new friends. I don't really like you that much.
Understood. So this is really this is actually going to be a public breakup. You're going to do this over recorded video.
Or break it up over podcasts. That's right. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to Puerto Rican and
Pelon.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Bustelo Coffee. Puerto Rican coffee. What not? All right, I say Puerto Rican coffee, but go ahead, Larry. Tell the secret.
Well, I mean, the secret is that it's actually Brazilian coffee, Colombian, excuse me, similar.
Every Puerto Rican knows Bustelo coffee, and we always drink Bustelo coffee, and then there's a couple other ones out there. But my wife pointed out on the label, it says product of Colombia.
Colombia.
In my
the way you say that. The way that
40, it just rolls off.
It
Colombia.
Does. Colombia.
Of my 40-some years, I did not know. And maybe, you know what? I think it used to be, but like everything in capitalism, it sold out.
Yep.
So everyone who doesn't know us, me and Larry have been friends now, what, 2 years? Going a little over 2 years?
Yep.
How did we meet, Larry?
Well, it all began for me with a $1,400 speeding ticket. Yes, I said that correctly, $1,400 speeding ticket. Half for speeding and the other half for racing. And I was in my previous Porsche, and it
thank God it was a Porsche, not a Prius.
Yeah, no.
The other P car.
Yeah, no. So anyway, I ended up with that ticket, and I thought, I need to look for some good radar detectors. So did some searching and online, watched a lot of different reviews, and came across one from this guy, Alberto Bernola. I tried to put a roll on that. But,
you did. Good job.
So, and here's this video, and I'm watching like this guy's he's in a Porsche, and I'm looking like that's a 911. So I'm watching the video, and I noticed in the background of the window, I'm like, that's I-5. That's going right by the Mercedes dealer right here by my house. This guy has to live locally. So I just sent you a little message on the video and or on your YouTube, sent you a little message. Hey man, I noticed you're in my area. Appreciate the review. Also noticed you're in a 911. So you want to hang out sometime?
So what Larry's saying is he's a stalker. Okay.
Well, I mean,
he saw me on YouTube, and he said he stalked me, and
I did.
And then what's crazier than that is I agreed to meet him.
You did.
I said, well, sure, okay, I'll meet you. And so we met, not knowing this guy, but this is what I love about the Porsche community. You can completely not know anybody. You chit chat with them, communicate, and you meet up, and next thing you know, you're friends most of the time.
Yep.
But funny thing, so when I met you was the first, Portland Cars and Coffee.
Yep. And you did not meet me alone, by the way. You brought your security with you.
That's right. I brought my security. I brought my heavy guy who's sleeping down here on the floor, Leo.
That's right.
Leo the Shih Tzu. If you watch anyone who's seen my YouTube, you see Leo the Shih Tzu's in there. And so I brought him in small world because I'm talking to Larry and we're chatting it up. Oh, okay, we got something in common. He says, "What do you do?" And I told him what I did. And then he says, "Hey,
Oh
I got
yeah.
a friend who does that." I said, "Really?" Now, to give some context, me and his Larry's friend are not friends. We've worked side by side, but we didn't work for the same company, didn't work together. So there was a little friction, but
Yeah.
nothing major. But anyways, we're talking, and I said, "Oh, yeah, I know you got my friend. My friend, I'm gonna change his name though.
Yeah.
My friend Will." And I was like, "Oh, Will? Will what? Will Smith? We'll use Will Smith because he just slapped the hell
There
out
you
of
go.
Chris Rock. Will Smith." I was like, "I know
Yeah.
Will Smith." He was like, "He works in here." I was like, "No way. Small world." And I'm
Yes.
thinking, all right, I just met the
Yes.
stalker and he's best buds with a guy I don't really get along with.
Yep.
Great. What else is
Yep.
gonna go wrong?
Bad
But
start. Bad
that's how
start.
that's how our friendship started.
It is. It
It is.
is.
So what got you what I'll let you go first. What got you into Porsches?
For me, it's been a long time love. I've always been into cars. I mean, I was in elementary school, and I remember my a buddy of mine, Tony. His mom bought a brand new Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am, and it was the black with the gold eagle and everything. And I'm like, wow, this
Nice.
car is awesome. So we'd get dropped off at school in the back of this car. Never mind that everybody has to get out of the front seats in order for you to get out of the back seats because there's no room back there. But that was one of my earliest memories of just loving cars. And my dad's a car lover as well. So he collected old T-Birds. And so we do work on those growing up. But one day, my love for Porsche happened when my regional manager with the Gazette Journal, the local paper, pulls up in a red Porsche. And I remember coming out of this was many, many years ago, came out of my house, saw this car sitting in my driveway. And in my mind, I just remember thinking, what is that and where do I get one? Because
Were you
I'm in love.
were you a kid or adult this time?
I was a kid. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I was around 14, somewhere in there. And so, I asked him about the car and, we went to Burger King and talked about the paper route and whatnot, right? Because that was back in the day when your parents didn't give you money. It's like my dad said, you want money, you're mowing lawns or you're delivering a paper route.
That's right.
So anyway, the rest is history. So we happened to have, this was in the Reno, Tahoe area. And so they had Porsche Northwest headquarters was there in downtown Reno. And so, or excuse me, Porsche, what was it? Porsche, it might be the actual US Porsche headquarters there, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. Anyway, great big, building downtown. And so went in there. I drew a lot. So I drew pictures of Porsches. I've got a bunch of pictures of Porsches because I was just like, other people were looking at, Playboy magazines. I'm looking at freaking Car and Driver.
That's right.
These cars, right?
Road and Track.
So,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, long story short, it was many, many years later that I ended up getting my first Porsche, and it was a Cayman S. Absolutely loved it, and 987, fantastic car.
Nice.
But my goal was the 911, and so
yeah.
a couple of years later, I decided the deal I had with my wife for many years was when we get our kids through school, then you'll be able to pull the trigger.
Nice.
So
Thanks.
I held to it.
And tell which one do you have now, so that everyone knows.
I have the 991 C4S.
And if you've seen my YouTube, there's a short little clip that says, "Who the hell parked that sexy ass car in my driveway?" That's Larry's car.
That would be the car.
That is Larry's car. So I'll tell you mine.
Yeah. What about you?
I am biased. I've been a Porsche guy forever. I couldn't afford one till I was an adult, but I'll tell you my kid story when I first saw one. So my dad was in the Army, so we lived in Germany, and I lived in Germany since kindergarten. I lived in Germany for 11 years, and I remember we're chucking down the Autobahn in his Volkswagen Quantum. This was before they made the Passat. It was the
Wow.
Quantum wagon. It was a 5-cylinder Audi engine, inline 5.
Wow.
And where, he's giving it everything he's got. He's giving it the beans, as they say. And we're doing probably 120, 130 miles an hour. I mean, that's all the car had. It couldn't go anymore. And I hear this roaring. I was like, what is that sound? And it's getting louder. It's getting louder. I'm like, that sounds amazing. And a 944 turbo and a 911. I don't know which model, which trim 911, but I knew it was a 944 turbo because of the body.
Yeah.
The 911 were bumper to bumper, and they passed us like we were sitting still on the autobahn. I fell in love that second. And, growing up in Europe, you got to see Lambos and Ferraris on a regular basis. My trophy car, sidebar, completely has nothing to do with Porsche. My trophy car, if anybody ever out there wants to, just give me one. Be nice. Thanks. Any of my billionaire acquaintances want to drop me a car as a present in lieu of bonus, I will take a Ferrari Testarossa. But Porsche was my dream car. It was a car that I knew from living over there. Mm-hmm. It's a car that it's handles, it's fast. It can do everything. It can go to the grocery store. It can go to the racetrack. It can go on a road trip. You can do everything. There's no limit to what you can. Well, the limit is you can't put more than 4 people in the thing. And 2 in the back got to be really small.
Really small. Yeah.
But
like double amputee small.
Double amputee small. So, I loved it, and I always wanted to get back into that, but moved back to the States after I became an adult, got in the Army, etc. And I'm living in the States. I don't have enough money for a Porsche. So what do? You stay in the family. I got Volkswagens, and I had multiple Volkswagens. I had a few Audis. Yep. Little by little, you upgrade. Mm-hmm. In 2010-ish, 10, 11, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. No, actually 2012. I remember because my motorcycle was a 2012. You know this story. So in 2012, 13, I bought a mint condition 944 turbo, bright red, just gorgeous, black on tan on the interior, manual, 5-speed, 6-speed, I can't remember, but mint, completely mint. Did not modify the thing at all. Just had it. My goal was it to hold it, appreciate it, and trade that for a 911 or sell it, get a 911. Well, you started us off by saying you got a speeding ticket for racing. So I'll tell you my ticket. I had a Kawasaki ZX14R, 200 horsepower, got it tuned, 219 horsepower.
Gee.
And I was with a bunch of bikers riding down a nice road in the United States. And one guy's pulling away, and I was like, the ego jumped in. You're not leaving me. So I hammered it, and I was all over him. And we were doing 200 miles an hour.
Gee.
I slowed down. On two wheels. And I let off the throttle because I said, hey, we're going to die. This is ridiculous. Well, as I was slowing down, I see lights, and I look at my speedo. And in high triple digits, there was a state police on my back tire. At a very high speed. So needless to say, we had to sell that Porsche to get the money to pay for the similar kind of ticket as Larry, just multiplied by a lot in money.
I think yours required an attorney.
It did require an attorney. My choice was get an attorney or go to jail. So of course I got the attorney. Yeah. Hey, I learned the lesson. Good lesson I learned too. I still ride motorcycles, but at that point I was full on hooligan with no respect, and that's not the right way to be. Yep. So lesson learned. Expensive, and so it took me a lot longer to get the 911. And actually, my dream 911 was a 964.
Oh gosh!
But
beautiful.
But because I delayed getting my 911 so many years, thanks to my incident, when the time came, I was looking at where I was in life and what I wanted. And I wanted creature comforts, and yet still wanted that classic wide 911. Yes. So for those who don't know, I have a 997.2. It's a 2010 911 Carrera 4S. Larry has the next generation Carrera 4S. And we both got black because that's the right color you're supposed to get in those cars.
That's right. That's right. When you think about, in hindsight, how many things we have in common, it's kind of ironic. I mean, we've got
Yeah.
both C4Ss, one generation apart, both black, both former military, both large tickets for speeding,
Yes.
both F1 fans.
Yes, yes. Speaking of F1, so what do you think about F1 this year?
Oh my gosh, man, this has just been amazing. I mean, the wheel-to-wheel racing has just been
It's
way beyond future years or prior years for sure.
right. Yes, I'm glad to see Ferrari back up top, elite and fighting.
I agree. I agree.
I'm bummed with I love Red Bull, but I'm shocked at the technical issues they're having this year.
I
With the
am
first
too.
race, and then now what just happened to Max on this last race.
It's a problem. There's something's going on.
I kind of feel like Mercedes is the sheep in wolves' clothing, because they're complaining and they're having issues and they're getting it wrong. But Hamilton just finished up there in the top 5 this last race. But did he finish third or fourth? I didn't remember.
He didn't make podiums. So
okay.
He was 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you meant wolf in sheep's clothing. But I understand the reference to a sheep in wolf's clothing. But anyway, it's I was just happy, to be honest, to see. I mean, I'm a Red Bull fan. I'll admit it, and I became a Red Bull fan because they were the ones that were challenging Lewis. And nothing against Lewis, obviously a talented guy, but Mercedes they had the car, man, and I was just growing tired of seeing.
It was boring.
Lewis win. It was boring.
And it was until last year. I mean, honestly, F1, and I've been an F1 fan since I was a kid. When I grew up in Germany, my dad used to take us to races, and I'd see them in person. I'd see the prototype cars. I'd see the German version of NASCAR. It's not called that. I don't remember what it's called, but they're stock cars. Yeah. But they're racing Beamers, Volvos, Mercedes. I mean, it's badass. It's cars you see on the street racing. And we'd see F1, and it was awesome. So I was always a Michael Schumacher fan from day one.
Yeah.
Then I was a Vettel fan for a long time.
Yep. Both greats.
And when I saw Leclerc come out, I said, "Oh, this guy's gonna Vettel's
He's
done.
Got it.
He's gonna push him out."
Yeah.
But F1 had got a little tiring, a little boring over the last couple of years until last year.
I agree.
Last year was just phenomenal. I mean, I don't mind the Mercedes was on top, but the cars they weren't fighting like they are this year. They take off, and you just start building your lead from the first lap, and I was like, that's boring.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I was just happy to see Mercedes have a challenger, and that just happened to be Red Bull. So, and you're right, Charles Leclerc he's got that something special.
Yeah.
Speaking of that something special, I think Perez is. I think Checo's developing some of that, right? This is a different year for him, man.
I think he's getting a chip on his shoulder. That's what I think is happening.
Okay.
He is good.
But
good. He's a nice guy.
Yep.
And you got to be kind of an alpha, kind of you. I don't want to say asshole. It's not asshole. I don't know if FCC is going to kick me out for saying that.
Yeah, ultra competitive.
Ultra competitive. Yeah, you really got to have a high level of confidence and push. Yes. And I think Checo might be too nice, but I don't know. This year he seems like he got a little chip on his shoulder, which is good.
I agree.
In a good way.
I agree. He's doing much better.
So we both love F1, but from what it's rumors so far, but there's a big rumor going that 2026 Porsche is going to supply Red Bull engines.
That's right, and Audi is going to supply McLaren.
Yeah, that's right. That would be phenomenal,
dude. That is like a match made in heaven from my perspective, right? I mean,
I could hear Toto right now. No, it's not right.
It's not right. Come on. Exactly. Well, from what I read, and they didn't go so far as to say Toto, but that some of the other some of the other teams were protesting Porsche's entry and what right they would have or what access they would have to the intellectual, property associated with
wouldn't you protest them too if Porsche was going to come in and compete with Honda?
Absolutely. And I mean, they were saying, look, Porsche, we're happy if Porsche comes in and builds
Yeah.
the power plant for the Red Bull, but they're going to start at square one where everybody else started.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, now, why would we do that? So that just sounds like something Toto would say, but
Yeah. What do you? So I also read that Porsche is not, or Formula One, not Porsche. Formula One's not going to go electric ever, because they have their format, and right now technology doesn't support a sustained race of the distance with electric. They've got Porsche's got the Mission E, which I think is now Mission R. I think they've changed it. They've got a newer version of it. And but F1 said they're going to stick to the hybrid, because at least for the foreseeable future, because there's no way to recharge a car in 2.3 seconds like you can swap tires.
Right. Yeah. So, and the only hope would be to get a battery size down to a tire size where you can swap that in a second and a half. But you're right. I would love. I got to be honest. I'm a little old. I know you're many years younger than I am, but
many.
Let's be clear here.
I do have a new ache in my knee that I don't know where it came from.
That's where it begins, brother. That's where it begins. It's probably your throttle knee, right? Where you're
no, good. It's my chill out leg, so I'm good. The right leg can still put the pedal down.
All right. But I cannot imagine a world where there isn't combustion engines. It would. And Porsche said, look, the 911 is the last thing we'll go to electric, but with all the emission stuff, and I cannot imagine. And I get the torque of an electric car. I mean, Teslas are fast as hell, but I just can't see it.
I think that's part of the reason they're developing with Siemens. And they actually, I just saw this. They're ahead. They're a whole full year ahead of where they thought they would be with renewable synthetic fuel.
Yes.
So I think part of the thing with synthetic fuel is not to keep combustion engines alive in the giant market. It's to keep certain cars, just like Ferrari and Lamborghini filed. I don't know if it got approved, but they filed they want an exception of forcing their cars to be electric. So,
got it.
Which
well, thank goodness.
I'm with you. I love electric, and I love the modernization of things. And I would love to have a Taycan Sport Turismo sitting in my driveway as my daily driver, but still have my 3.8 NA flat six gas engine sitting there ready to piss everyone off.
I agree. The sounds, the smells, the vibrations. I mean, you just don't get that in an electric car.
You know what? You don't like my car? Go hug a tree.
There you go.
That's how I feel.
That reminds me of when I was doing some work on my car. I pulled off the airbox, and Porsche. You probably know this, but 911 has a little hose that goes. The further and further that flat six gets away from the cabin as the car stretches out, right? They lose some of that sound that's actually in the cabin of the vehicle when you're driving. So what Porsche's solution to that was to put a hose essentially from the airbox to the back of the cabin behind the rear seat, so that you can hear some of that sound come through. Well, guys actually plug that hose with a washcloth because it's still too loud for them in the car. And I'm just like, don't buy the car. If you don't like the sound, don't buy the car.
Yeah. I was listening to the Curb Canyon, shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were talking about the last guest they had on there. God, I feel like an idiot. I just listened to it this morning. I don't remember his name. But anyways, and one of the things he's talking about when he shows up, when he first started showing up to car events in Porsche UK, and how he would get, to make a long story short, he would run into a little bit of the snobbery. Yeah. And, I've come across that too a little bit. And I think, their point of their story was different, but I think if you're a Porsche fan, don't let that bother you. And if you like that stuff, hey, great. There's plenty of other like-minded people that will hang out with you, and you guys can
That's right.
get together. But
Yeah.
I look at it as no matter how wealthy I become and how successful, I'm still going to be that get dirty, wrench
Yeah.
monkey kind of guy that I want to mess with the car and I want to go drive the car.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about morning minutes. I don't want to talk about a meeting. I don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to just enjoy the car for what it is.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And I would say, I've been members of various car clubs as a Porsche owner. And you can find the community that you're looking for. I mean, some of the clubs are very much, like you said, just lots of money, not a lot of substance, at least around the car, not as a person, I'm saying, but
Yep.
and the car is just kind of a vehicle, a status thing. Whereas me, and I know you, it's like we were, we didn't come from a whole lot, and so we worked for everything we have today. We're doing great. Been blessed that way for sure. But yeah, you can find the community you're looking for, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, and what, I'll tell you one of the things that kind of intimidated me when I first got my 944. It's very much, and Porsche's going to hate that I say this, but it's very much like a Volkswagen. I mean, the way the engine is, the way everything's runs, the layout, the mechanics of it wise is what I mean. When I got my 911, I was a little intimidated, and I bought it, and they said, hey, you can get an extended warranty. It's this much money. I said, oh, absolutely. Get an extended warranty. So anyone who's out there and looking for a 911, you can, doesn't matter how old it is, you can still get an extended warranty to the car. You don't have to, you don't have to buy it and think, oh, what if this car breaks?
That's right.
And it's, my extended warranty is paid for itself. And I've never had a big failure, little stuff. But you can get that. But what I've learned is the cars are easy to work on. They're
absolutely
they're super reliable.
They're super reliable. It's what makes them special, right? I mean,
there's things that would, like, I had a CV boot that broke. Now, if I had a Camry, would I fix that CV boot, or would I have driven it for another month or two? Probably would have driven it for another month or two.
Yeah,
but because I have a 911, I fixed it. But did it affect the function? Did it leave me stranded? No, absolutely not. And it was an easy fix. Motor mounts. God, that's the easiest thing I've ever fixed on these cars. The motor mount on my Passat, they had to take it off to change the serpentine belt and broke it. And that was stupid expensive and hard as hell to change. Motor mounts on the 911, it's a 30-minute job.
Yeah, so I will tell you that changed a little bit on mine, or at least for the on the 991 version, they have the mine has the Porsche Active Dynamic mounts. So the engine, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it changes the position of the engine based on how you're driving the car, essentially, to help counterbalance and whatnot. So it's an active mount on the engine. They had a group of those that had failed, and it wasn't a large number, but I was one of the unlucky recipients of that failure. But the darn part, unfortunately, was $1,400 for this engine mount. Now that's through Porsche. I probably could have gotten it somewhere else, but I wanted to keep it all. I didn't want to do aftermarket stuff, assuming there was an aftermarket version of that mount. But anyway, but I did the work myself. Like you said, the point being that you can absolutely work on these cars yourself. You do not have to take it to the dealer for anything, really. I mean, once you're out of warranty, it's like, don't take it to the dealer, man. I mean, I've got a list here. In fact, just happens to be sitting on my desk. This is the 40,000 mile service for the 991. And the dealer wants $2,400 to do this work. $2,400. And I thought, well, I mean, look, these cars are not expensive to maintain, essentially. But I went and bought all the parts myself to do it myself. $377.
And you have a friend who has a
who has a lift in his garage.
Who's going to help you do it.
Exactly.
And I work for compliments and beer.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's right.
So
yeah.
So Porsche's, So if you're intimidated or thinking about it, Don't be. Porsches are a piece of cake. I will say I was fortunate, and you as well, to buy our cars before the market before the market got stupid.
No kidding.
My car literally cost double what I paid for it 2.5 years ago. And yeah, so that's the only negative I would say. If you're in the market for a Porsche and you want a cheap one, it's not like it was 2.5 years ago. They're definitely gone up in price.
So here's the question then for you: would your advice be to buy now because it's going to continue to go up? You got to get in, or would your advice be to hold out a little bit, see what happens with the market? It's got to slow down.
I say to hell with the market. If you want a 911, if it's your dream car, well, not just a 911, you want a Boxer, if you want a Cayman, whatever you can financially afford, and that's what you want to get into, don't wait on the market. Get it, because every single time I get in my car, I'm not exaggerating, every single time I drive my car, I pinch myself because I'm in love. The only car I've ever had in my entire life, zero by regret, no complaints about anything. I just love it. I just love it. Doesn't matter if I'm taking a road trip, if I'm hitting back roads in the canyons and the mountains, or if I'm going on the freeway. I absolutely love it. So if you're in the market and you got the money, buy it. Don't wait on the market.
I agree.
I think it will come down, because look at the 996s are a perfect example. No one liked them because of the ugly headlights, etc., and their values were down really low, lower than the 997. Now they're collectibles. And now they're going up in value. And the 997s are old, and I think they're on that precipice of they're going to start being, well, they are already starting getting bought up by collectors. 10 years from now, if you have a mint condition 997, I think it's going to be worth a ton of money. So I wouldn't wait to buy it. I'd just go ahead and buy it now.
I think I got two pieces of advice around my love of Porsches and my waiting. The first came from my late father, who said, don't wait till you're too old, son, to do something that you're really passionate about. And man, that stuck with me. I'm like, you know what? He's right. I need to just figure out how I can get into one of these cars. And the second came from my son. A local car dealership here had this Cayman S 987 for sale, and it was only 30. I think it was 32 grand at the time. It was a 2008. And so my son and I'm like, hey, it's local. You want to just go give it a drive? And it's like, yeah. So we went down there, gave that car a great drive. In fact, so great that anyway, I
want to know now.
Yeah. Well, we get out on some of the farmland, right? And the dealer guy, I won't say his name. I didn't say the dealership, did I? No,
you didn't.
So he's in the passenger seat, and he tells me, stop the car. We're out in the farm country. And this is not where I currently live. This is my previous place. And he said, okay, 0 to 100. Let's see how fast you can get it there. And I looked over and thought, I'm like, you're a car salesman and you're asking me to go 100 miles an hour? Done. So I drove the wheels off of that car for the next 20, 30 minutes. So then we came back and he said, so what do you think? You ready to make a deal? And I said, I got one final ask. And he said, what's that? And I said, my son's got to approve it. So my son was 19 years old. And he's like, seriously? And I said, absolutely. Well, my son's he's been a car nut, Porsche nut, Beamer nut for years as well. So he climbed in that thing and drove it around and came back. And the dealer said, you know what? You scared me, but he scared the teeth out of me. we got to laughing about that. So anyway, the second piece of advice came from my son, who said, look, why don't you get this one now, because it's what you can afford, and then get a 911 sometime in the future when you can. And so that's what I did. And I love that Cayman S. Fantastic car.
Well, you know what? Like you said earlier, I'm many, 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 many years younger than you. But where was I going with that? I got lost.
I'm not sure.
That's how young I am. That's how young I am. I forget things. I get sometimes I remember things, sometimes I don't. No, what I was going to say, I do remember. the 911, any 911, Boxers, Caymans also, are cars you can drive for free. And people look at you, I'm like, yeah, you can drive for free. You can buy any of those cars, maintain them,
take care of it,
drive it for a year or two, sell it, and you will almost get exactly what you paid for it. And so essentially, you drove the car for free, and you can move into the next model.
That's right.
And you know, the longer you keep it, the better you maintain it. You can. It's not hard for those cars to appreciate.
Yeah.
Go buy any other. I'm not going to bash any other manufacturer's names, but if you buy some other manufacturer's cars, that $100,000 car after a couple of years is worth $15,000. And it's not going to go up in value.
That's right.
You go buy a Porsche, and that $100,000 car may be a little less, but it's not. It's going to stop depreciating at some point, and it's going to appreciate. Which you don't get that unless you buy a Ferrari or Lamborghini, which most of the time those are unattainable for us regular folks.
Where
a Porsche is still an attainable car.
Yeah, when you buy a Lambo or a Ferrari, you not only have to afford the car, you have to afford the upkeep on the car. So it's a completely different deal, and those are great cars.
Yeah,
they're awesome. But you're right, the Porsche community is very passionate community. If you're a Porsche guy or a Porsche gal, it's like you know it, and it's in your blood. And so you're right; these cars just continue to go up in value, which is great.
Well, we're gonna cut it there, but I want to tell you, if we on future episodes, we have future episodes,
right? We'll see how this goes.
So we have the one and only Mr. Jay Reed. He will be on there. He'll be on the next one.
Absolutely.
And I've asked auto amateur James McGrath. McGraw. He told me to call him McGraw, not McGrath, even though it's spelled McGrath. He doesn't have time for us peasants anymore. He's gotten too big.
No. Oh no. Oh no.
No, he does. He said he's going to make some time. He just hasn't told me when. We'll have those two guys
when we go on that drive in May. If he hasn't committed to a date yet, he may be able to take one of us because he's a big old bear, but he's not going to be able to take both of us.
Well, he said, so we'll talk about him for a minute. So, and we completely forgot about the tour, or we'll talk about the tour. Let's talk about James real quick. So James made a deal with his wife. He has to if he loses a set amount of weight, he can spend that much money on a car. So he said if he loses 100 pounds, he can spend $100,000. If he loses 100, he said this is his words. If you listen to his podcast, it's hilarious. He says, so if he loses 150 pounds, he may die, but
but he'll die in a GT3.
That's right.
With his other.
So his wife Ruthie, who's great. I met her. She's such a sweetheart. He was saying that she thinks he was planning on losing the weight over a span of time. No, he wants to lose the weight like right now because he wants a GT3.
Exactly. I mean, it's not about the weight. It's like you put a motivator like that in front of me, done deal.
Yeah. So
done deal.
But so the trip, we didn't even talk about the trip. You know what? I'm going to take this trip part out and I'm going to put it at the beginning when I edit this all up. But the trip. Awesome. So we have a trip coming up in May. The hosts are James McGraw, Auto Amateur, and Jay Reed YouTube, and myself. Of course, they stole my idea, but I let them run with it. And we're gonna start day one in Billings, Montana. We're gonna go Billings, Denver, Grand Junction, Salt Lake City. I think I'm missing one in between. Salt Lake City, and then we're gonna stay in Idaho. Island Park, I think that's what it's called. It's near the west entrance of Yellowstone, so we can go around Yellowstone. But the first few are going to be one day, and then when we go to Denver's going to be 3 days because we're going to get there the first night. Then we're going to do Pikes Peak, weather permitting. We're all going to ride, just have a whole chain, a parade of Porsches going to Pikes Peak.
We'll have to have the S models up front, though.
Yes, that's right. The Pikes. Well, James has that 996, so he's gonna have to go in the back, even though he's the organizer.
I don't know.
We might let him be in the front.
It's pretty beautiful.
It is beautiful. I've seen it in person. It's a beautiful car. So we'll do that, and then we'll do some car events, and then we'll go to Grand Junction. And then there's talk when we're in Salt Lake City to go to the Salt Flats.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
they're trying to organize that on their end.
Okay.
So if you don't have your hotels, if you want to meet us May 17th, we leave from Billings, Montana. So if you can get to Billings, Montana,
Yep.
then every day through the 25th, we're going to be at a different location, except 3 days in Denver. So May 18th we'll be in Denver for 3 days, and then every other place will be one night.
Yep. And there's car events in various locations.
That's right. In Denver and Salt Lake City for sure, we will have car meetups, not just riding around. We'll meet up. So even if you don't come to the whole Rocky Mountain tour, you can come meet us, meet Jay Reed, meet Auto Amateur, meet Larry de Pelon, Alberto the Puerto Rican, and Leo. Leo's coming, by the way.
Leo's coming. All right.
Leo's coming. I've got Leo's son in training. I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's ready for do a long distance trip, but he's in training.
Leo's our security.
Leo's our security. So we're gonna do that, and I think it's gonna be a blast.
I can't wait.
Anybody on the West Coast or the Mountain States want to meet us on the way or en route? Feel free, reach out to me. My email. You can send me my YouTube. Now I got to say this because I didn't realize this. I knew it, but I didn't realize it, and it's confusing. My Instagram, my Facebook, everything else is Alberto B1. My YouTube is Alberto 1B.
Oops.
And it's not because of me. I remember now because the first thing I did was YouTube way back when it first came out, before I was publishing anything. And so YouTube said, when I set it up 10, 12, 15 years ago, however long YouTube's been out, it said, name was taken or couldn't use that name or something. So I flipped it. So it is confusing. But on all of my pages, if you go to the bio and you go to profile, they're all linked to everything else. So you can go to YouTube and find my Instagram and Facebook. You can go to Facebook, find Instagram, YouTube, and Instagram, the same thing. Go all the way around, make a full circle.
And if they want to meet up for the trip to Billings, they can meet up anywhere between where in Billings?
So we're going to go, the route we're taking is we're going to go Oregon-Washington border. Okay. Then we're going to cut up to Spokane.
Okay.
And then, what is that? 90. I think that's 90. Okay. And then 90 straight to Bozeman to Billings. That's the route we're going to take. It's just the fastest route. So
if you're in Seattle or Oregon or California and you want to come up to that border, Oregon-Washington border, we can meet up there at some spot.
That's right. If you're in Northern California, you can shoot on up to towards Boise, and you can meet us that way. If you're in Seattle, go straight to Spokane. You can meet us. We'll stop in Spokane. Just let us know, and we'll set up a meetup time, and we'll keep rolling from there.
And the idea is that various cars will be joining in at various points along the route, right? Not everybody has to go for the entire,
That's right. That's right. There's no entry fee. There's no you book your hotel on yourself. Auto Amateur, he has everything by dates and locations and times on his webpage. So I'm going to link his webpage on my YouTube channel, and I'll repost it on Instagram as well. And so you can see where we're going to meet. There's no entry fee. There's no money that has to be exchanged. You get your hotels all on yourself. You just know where we are and just meet us and ride with us and, hang out. And that's what it's about. We will drive spiritedly, but it's not a race. Sure. There's, we're not racing each other. There's no trophy. There's no points. We all want to go have fun and come back from this alive with nobody's cars wrecked.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I did a trip with them last October. I went cross country. I went to Tail of the Dragon from Portland, and we had a blast. Yeah. And the only piece of advice I would give everybody is know your limits.
Yes.
And at some point, lift off, because there's always going to be someone faster. Let that faster person just be faster. It's all right. It doesn't make you less of a Porsche enthusiast. Let them go. So,
and we've been to hooligan meets and hooligan drives. And this is not a hooligan.
This is not. This is a bunch of we're a bunch of knuckleheads who
Yeah.
are professional somethings.
Yeah.
We're
And
not
love Porsches.
I love Porsches. We're not.
That's it.
We're definitely not professional mechanics.
No, no.
But yeah. So check it out and look
Love to
forward to
have you.
seeing you there. All right.
Excellent.
And thank you, Larry. I'll let you get back to your real job,
right.
whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
I'm doing my job, which is nothing.
Just so you know, you are my favorite Puerto Rican. I'm just saying.
Am I your only Puerto Rican?
It's possible, but that's irrelevant. I mean, all right. We got to figure out a way to manufacture an English accent, you know, because that's the only thing Curb and Canyon has on us is that whole English accent thing, right? Bollocks, knob and bollocks. Can I say that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Okay.
Oh yeah, yes you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you know this is the thing that bothers me about Jay Reed.
Yeah.
He's got that beautiful narrator voice.
Yeah.
Like you can hear his voice on a documentary.
Yeah.
And when you watch any of his videos and he narrates it, it's just like, oh, it's just.
I know it.
Oh.
I know it, man. I know it. So you wonder if people who live in England, they live in Europe, do they listen to our accents and say, oh, they've got that awesome American accent?
Of course they do.
I'm going to let myself believe that's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Jay Reed and James McGraw, they live here. So there you go.
Right. You're right.
That's right.
There you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Enough said.
Now we just need an Autobahn here. That's all we need, and everything else is done.
We need an Autobahn so bad. Elon Musk said he was going to do. Well, not Elon. It was California. They said they were going to do a Sacramento to LA pay for use Autobahn.
Oh, sign me up.
They haven't done anything with it, and it was land that they set aside for the Hyperloop that they decided then they weren't going to use for the Hyperloop, but they already cleared the land.
Okay.
So,
all right. Very good.
All right, my friend.
All right.
We'll catch you on the next one, and hopefully we have another episode, and we'll have some special guests.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Larry.
All right, bud.
Catch you later.